Hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday. It is August 15th, 16th. Jeez. Yeah, August 16th here. You're with Captain Tara. I'm coming to you live from the Churchill River, just on the brinks of Hudson Bay. And hopefully you're here for some beluga whale viewing, because that is what we are up to today. Before we get going, I'll just acknowledge, as always, that we're on Treaty 5 territory here in northern Manitoba. So that's the traditional homelands of the Cree, Dene, Inuit, and Métis people of Canada. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. It is myself on the boat today with a very special guest with me. I have a Mr. Gentry Bruce joining us today, so we'll check in with him later. But we're just getting back on the water after some very rough conditions yesterday. It is significantly better today. We did have some high winds today, but they've died down and the water is in pretty good condition. We are heading out into the bay just to see if there are conditions that we like to be in out there. We're catching a little bit of swell as we're making our way closer to the fort. And if we don't like it, we'll turn back around. But we've definitely seen some beluga whales just being out on the water a few minutes early. So I think we're in for a great Friday. Just want to thank everybody who stuck it out with us yesterday. I know we had to cut the trip a little short, but I did get a chance to go through all those photos and just, as mentioned, shocked and awed about how many amazing underwater photos our viewers and moderators were able to get yesterday, especially with those conditions. I know my guest on the boat, Chloe, joining us from Polar Bears International, she had a wonderful day viewing the whales as they were super active. But my day was a little bit different managing the boat, but it looks like all's well that ends well, because those photos were just fantastic. Mums and babies and all the beluga bits, and definitely some defining features on the belugas. So I just wanted to shout out everyone that was with us yesterday. The photos were amazing. So we'll get settled here, and I'll come back and check in with you guys in a little bit once we decide if we're going to try to spend some time in the bay or head back into the river today. And once we get back in the river later, we'll make sure we get some great shots of the two large vessels that are visiting the port of Churchill. We've had some very smoky and foggy conditions the last couple days, so we didn't get any good shots, but I will make sure we prioritize that today before the week is up. So thanks again for tuning in today. We're so happy you're with us. Well, Beluga buddies, our trip out to the bay has proved worthwhile as we have spotted a bear just before the end here. Looks like he's hanging out. I'm not too close to shore, so I can't tell precisely what he's up to, but he does look like a big fella, I'll tell you that. Um, but yes, we have Mr. Gentry Bruce on the boat today. It is his first time out on the water since being in Churchill. So we thought we'd make a little bit of an effort to see if we couldn't not only get him out to the bay to see what it's like, but see if that bear friend of ours is still hanging out here, and it looks like he is. So mission accomplished, and we've only been out here for 15 minutes, so great. We are just going to make our way a little further here so that we have a nice drift back into the river. We are seeing some like residual waves and a little bit of swell from the wind that was blowing in Churchill today. So I don't think we're going to hang out in the bay for this adventure, just because it is a bit chunky out here, and I know that makes it a little bit more challenging to not only spot our beluga buddies, but also just when viewing that on-deck camera. So bear with us as we turn the boat around, and we'll head back to the river where it's a little bit calmer shortly. Okay, Beluga buddies, we are headed back into the river, just battling some of that swell that's kind of pushing us a little bit right now, but I have spotted a large pod of whales behind us. So as soon as I can just get away from the danger of the shoreline, we'll turn that boat and hopefully they'll show up in the on-deck camera for you. And then I think we're just going to trot nice and slowly back up the river as we did see a ton of whales as we were making our way out. So buckle up your life jackets, get your clicking fingers ready, and we'll be off and running in no time. Hello, Beluga buddies. Just catching up on some of the snaps you guys have already got on the message board today. They look awesome. And it looks like, was it Being Still or Cloud? Being Still got a great shot from last year, I think, probably when we were leaving the boat at the shoreline just of the overnight. So that's a great photo, and thanks for sharing. So we're officially back in the river now. We are out of the mucky current meeting water that we encountered just where the river mouth meets the edge of the bay. Old Delphi got a little surf on with a little bit of the swell, so that was exciting. But I thought we would take this opportunity on our very special Friday to introduce Mr. Gentry Bruce, who is joining us on the boat today. So welcome, Gentry. Up for the microphone, you bet.
Hello.
Welcome, Mr. Bruce. We would like to introduce you to our friends, and everybody is saying hi to you so far. So a lot of our regulars, Sugar G Mom, and looks like we've got Cam Ops Orion and Cloud and Being Still. Everybody says hello, welcoming you to our Beluga boat today. And my understanding, it is your first time on the water since arriving in Churchill. Is that correct?
That is correct. I haven't been on the water north of the Mexico in a long time. So
so you're traveling from Mexico, Gentry Bruce.
I am traveling from Mexico.
What keeps you down in the Mexican waters, sir?
Well, I spend a lot of time on a sailboat with a pretty young lady.
Oh, fantastic. So in case anybody isn't getting my little joke here, we are joined today by my partner in crime, Gentry Bruce. So this is, yeah, my partner in crime and that I come from the boat on Mexico with. So extra excited to have him with us out on the water today. And he just saw his first bear from the water. So what'd you think about that?
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's only my third bear here, so that's still pretty exciting for me.
Wonderful. Sorry, third bear. I remember you're saying that you saw one driving home from work one day on the side of the road. Where was the other one?
Yeah, there was that one. Then there was by the golf balls, there was a mom with her cub.
Oh,
so I
right.
saw her a couple of days in a row.
Yeah, I'm very jealous. I have yet to see a mom and a
So I
cub.
guess that's 4.
Nice. Wow, look who's bragging now. And you've seen the belugas from shore. I know we've taken a couple drives to the water just to survey the situation. But none up close yet, until today, I suppose. So what's your vibe on the beluga whales so far?
It's pretty exciting. I've only ever seen them in the Vancouver Aquarium before coming here, so it's a lot cooler experience to see them out here in their natural habitat.
Yeah, definitely. And we're so excited that the weather has come around for you today because yesterday was quite a challenge out on the water and very cold. So today the smoke is cleared. I'm not sure if you guys can see that on the on-deck cam, but we've definitely got some hints of blue sky, lots of visibility today, and some really nice waters now that we're in the river and out of that swell zone. So hopefully you're seeing that our on-deck cam is calmed right down. Gentry, why don't you tell the people, came up to Churchill to hang out with this lady, I imagine, but managed to find some work. So what are you doing? What are you doing in Churchill for a job?
Well, I'm a mechanic by trade, so I was lucky enough to get on with one of the local tour providers, and I'm repairing rovers, getting them all ready in case any of you are coming to visit. They should run smooth.
Awesome. So that's awesome. Lots of heavy-duty mechanic work in this neck of the woods, and I was told that last year by a lot of my friends in town. They said if I could get him to come up, he would have no shortage of work. So, yeah, I've been joined by my partner this year, not only for the summer season, but for the fall season as well. And although working a lot, the both of us, and not necessarily seeing each other as much as maybe we're used to on the boat, definitely better than the 6 months apart, I think, that we spent last year. So really excited to have you up here. And my understanding you'll be joining us once on the boat next week as well as we get close to closing out our season.
That's the plan so far.
Awesome. So we're going to get Gentry out on the boat next week as we transition to our morning tide times next week. So this is as late as we're going this week. We are on the water for another 3.5 hours till 8 p.m. here Central Time in Manitoba. So that is when we shut off, whether it's 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. And at least for the first 3 days of next week, we're kicking off quite early here in Manitoba on Central Time. So we'll be on the water at 8 a.m. every day. So for those of you on the West Coast, make sure you're checking that time zone on our pinned post at the top of the message board, and you can see what time that works out for you next week. Looks like we're having some good weather for the first few days there. We know that can change because it's Churchill, but I'm really optimistic, and I just have a feeling that we're going to get some great weather to the end of the month, and we'll be able to run our beluga boat and our beluga cameras a little bit past what our current end date is scheduled as 27th, a Tuesday, but I believe that weather permitting, we should be able to get a few more days on the water and be out here at least until that Friday, and hopefully have a Friday farewell together. So I'm really pushing for that and should have confirmation on our final date by next week. So everybody stay tuned. I'll report back as soon as I know. And I will just sign off with Mr. Bruce for now. Let him enjoy some of the whales. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, sorry, I normally do that a little bit later, but we can just throw that out right now. Gentry, is there anyone you'd like to say hi to today?
Yeah, I'm going to have to throw out a very happy birthday to my sister Sharni.
Oh, where's Sharni?
Sharni's near San Francisco, and she lives there with her 2 kids, Taves and Jane, and Ryan, not Ryan. her husband.
Awesome.
So
Do we want to shout out how old little sister is today, or keep that under wraps?
well, me minus one, 41 years old. So.
Oh, well into the 40s now. Here we go. Okay, well, happy birthday, Sharni. Hopefully you guys can tune in for some awesome beluga whale watching today. And we're just waiting for our friends to join us. So thanks, Gentry. We'll talk to you a little bit later. looks like we've got some sounds on our hydrophone right now. Almost bird-like, but there's no birds, so it's definitely the hydrophone. Thank you to Cloud for sharing that sweet picture of the golf balls. Yeah, it is like definitely a historic site now. Mostly just for some kind of cool picture taking for locals. It's a little destination. If you're going to go for a drive, you can go there. But I see that Being Still was asking how Gentry and I got to Churchill. Sailing doesn't seem like an option. So, fun fact, you actually can sail here. But I don't feel like it is a common stopping place for sailors. Gentry and I have actually mapped out how long it would take to sail into Hudson Bay from the earliest possible entry point in the northern Arctic. So you'd have to go just Canadian geography if you were to be above Newfoundland and then above Quebec. I'm not sure what that body of water right there is called, but you're going above Quebec, above Newfoundland. You're just south of Baffin Island, coming around northern Ontario and then ducking down into the bay. Even just to get out of the bay in perfect sailing conditions is a 10 to 14 day trip, nonstop sailing. So it's actually larger than, for example, we sailed down the Baja. So we left San Diego from the US and sailed to Cabo San Lucas, so the length of the Baja, Mexico. Hudson Bay, kilometer-wise, is longer than that to get like out at the longest point. So quite a long journey without stopping in, very treacherous waters. The timing would have to be spot on, and even still, I can only imagine the conditions. And then you'd have to get back out or go west, and it would, I think it'd almost be like a two-year endeavor to sail a boat here, because I think you'd get to Churchill and then you'd probably have to find a way to take it out of the water and protect it for the winter, and then carry on your journey going west, probably along that Northwest Passage the following year. So I don't think the sailing to Churchill is in our future. So of course, for those of you that don't know, you can't drive to Churchill either. There are no roads that get to Churchill, so it's either the train or flights. So we managed to, we both flew up. So we came up from Mexico, stopped in Vancouver visiting friends and family, and then we took some direct flights to Winnipeg and then flights up to Churchill. And that's also how we would like to, that's how we're getting home this year as well at the end of November. But I would like to try to take the train perhaps next year if our timelines don't end up being so tight. I think we both would really like to take the train, especially in the summer, just to check out the muskeg. Oh, on deck camera should be showing that we have a lot of whale friends joining us. So thanks again for that question, Being Still. Nothing, like I said, nothing too exciting, and probably don't have a sail adventure to Churchill in our immediate future. We have other oceans we're working on crossing first. But thanks again for asking, and do appreciate it. I just want to let you guys know we are across from the port right now, so we're moving quite slow. But what you'll see come up here pretty quickly in the on-deck cam, we should be able to get some really good shots here of the Canadian Coast Guard icebreaker, the Vincent Massey. So for those of you that tune in on the regular, this boat did visit us a few weeks ago now, ice breaking one of the other ships that came to visit, and assume that he was traveling with this mineral ship that has arrived in Churchill. So just to update everybody on that, I talked about it yesterday. I couldn't quite remember if it was zinc or something else that it was picking up. The point is, it's picking up minerals from Churchill that have been transported here on the train, and ideally just the first of many, which will be really great for the Port of Churchill, to have a little bit more, getting more use and kind of rejuvenating the port again. So everybody's really excited that that ship's here and in partnership with Arctic Gateway. So as we're near the port now, you'll see the Vincent Massey first with the giant yellow crane on it as we get by. And I will make sure that I drive all the way to the end of the port so that we can catch the other mineral ship with three, also quite large, but smaller than the Coast Guard's cranes. So Coast Guard ship, one crane, it's yellow, red and white, Coast Guard, Canadian. And the other ship, I'm not quite sure where it's from yet because it's been foggy conditions last few days. So as we get to the stern of that boat, we'll be able to see where it's traveling from and just confirm the name. Oh, okay, folks, here we go. I'm just going to spin the old Vincent Massey into your field of vision. And if you make any sort of note how big it is, you'll also catch our local tugboat here, the H.M. Wilson, which always looks giant as we drive by it, but next to this Coast Guard and other ship that's here, these incredibly large ocean-going vessels, the old H.M. Wilson tug looks pretty small. So I just, yeah, Gentry's really interested in ships and also cranes. Big fan of cranes and ships. And Gentry's life in Vancouver, he... oh, why don't you tell us, Gentry? What was your company in Vancouver? What did you do for work there?
The end of my time there, I was just working for myself, GB Crane Repair, working on mostly taxi cranes, mobile cranes, and a little bit of things on the water too.
Yeah, you fixed a couple ships that had cranes, or was it barges, or?
Cranes on barges, yeah.
Anything as big as what the old Vincent Massey's sporting there?
Yeah, it could probably have picked up the Vincent Massey. It was quite a large one.
Oh, wow.
If you're ever anywhere around Vancouver and see a crane named the Beast, I've worked around it, if not on it.
Geez, that's really big. Any idea how big that crane is, or what kind of, is that like a crane that lifts a sea can or lifts a boat, or any ideas?
I suspect that it's used to lift the channel markers for service. So it would pick up the anchors, the chain, and the channel markers and make sure they're all in good working order and put them back in the water.
Well, my understanding is that the old H.M. Wilson here, our local tug, as I was telling you, Captain Irving got a tour of that boat last year. I thought that they placed the channel markers, but they might just tow them out as opposed to lifting them, which maybe Coast Guard ships do at, bigger ocean marker type things.
For sure.
Cool. Um, Sounds like we might have a couple other people tuning into our Beluga broadcast today, Gentry. Anybody else you want to say hi to?
Yeah, my dad and his girlfriend Carla are listening in. I just heard from them that they heard from me on the broadcast. So
Oh, wonderful. Hello,
shout out to
Carla, and hello,
Dad
Mr.
and Carla.
Bruce. Thanks for checking in on us today. It's great to be on the water. I shouldn't act like this is all a coincidence. I did sort of broadcast this all over the internet today. So thanks for tuning in, guys. A little bit of a slow start so far, but things have calmed down quite a bit, even just in the first hour that we've been out here. So I think once I get this other boat in your visual, for those of you that have been waiting for it, I am going to head back towards the bay and just hope that the conditions out there also have died right down, because it seems that the wind has almost gone to nil, although it did blow all day. Things have calmed down quite a bit, so the water's calming right out and smoothing right out, and hopefully we're going to see lots of whales, because they're not going to be able to hide so much in those waves. So fingers crossed. Gentry, anything you can tell us? I know we're seeing this ship for the first time, but I did make note that like these cranes are very different. So they're three cranes. They're very tall. Is this more like the sea can type ships, you think, or any idea about those cranes?
No, this looks like a bulk carrier, so it would just be loading things in and out. But it could be anything from iron ore, like I think they're picking up now, to pipes or boxes, or hence the cranes. They can load each hold individually.
Okay, so they're not necessarily used in tandem.
Uh, they may, if they had something big, they'd for sure use two or three of them together to pick something up.
Oh, interesting. And look at that large bulb in the front of the boat there for breaking the waves, it seems.
It's for changing the waves, the wave off the hull of the ship. It's for fuel efficiency.
Oh, well, of course it is. That makes sense. So if our moderators are looking, I know we've pulled this ship up before. It is the Alaska Borg. The name had escaped me there for a moment, but we can see it now. Yeah, I don't know anything about cranes, and it's not very often we have a crane expert on the boat, so I just thought maybe we could try to highlight the differences of the cranes on these large and giant ships. So we are just pulling up to the bow of the Alaska Borg. So I will turn and get you guys a side view of that. But before the moderators post it, Gentry, any idea, take a guess at how large that ship is coming from Vancouver? You see these all the time. What do you think, 300 feet?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
I'd go with that.
Well, the Alaska Borg, and I'll tell you what, friends, as we are now very close to it and beside it, I'm feeling very intimidated. This is a giant ship, and the only time I've ever been this close to a ship, also just in the Vancouver harbor when I was sailing little laser boats on a course. We got to use them as markers and go around them. But just in a big boat like Delphi, who, she's one of the bigger ones on the water out here. Now to be beside this giant beast, we definitely feel very, very small, like an ant, if you will. It looks like they've got a life raft hanging off the back here with a couple crew members on deck, so we'll definitely give them a wave as we go by. And like I said, hopefully you guys can enjoy the view of the ship. It's just absolutely wild. That's all for now, folks. We'll talk more later. And if you have any questions about the ships or cranes or, of course, beluga whales, don't be shy to post them on the message board, and we'll see what we can do to help answer them. Thanks. Thanks so much for those pictures on the message board, everyone. Yeah, that grain ship is actually, or sorry, mineral ship, I guess I should say. It's actually being filled right now. As we were walking by, we happened to notice the conveyor belt putting in product. Also, just making note that it was a little bit sitting heavy on the back. So, Gentry was keen to point out that they're probably filling it in stages. The boat's always going to be heavier when empty at the back because that's where the motor is. So although they're putting grain at the back right now, they'll probably go back and forth to front and back as to not overload any section. So pretty neat to see that happening. And your guys' photos of it look awesome. And thanks always to Cloud for just the amazing photos. Cloud, you've got such a history of pictures, not only from Churchill, but also just from the Beluga boat. So it was zinc. Thank you for clarifying. I do appreciate that. And then a shot of that white building. So yeah, shout out to Arctic Gateway for really putting this together and bringing that port of Churchill back alive. That's going to be really great for this community. So thanks again for sharing. Great pictures as always. Well, Beluga buddies, we are having a nice, smooth ride back out towards Hudson Bay here. Uh, Caught some belugas beside us, just running with us in the boat. So hopefully they're going to join us on that underwater cam any minute now. But in the meantime, we'll also be able to catch on the on-deck camera. It looks like Frontiers North has moved one of their tundra buggies and their dining car to the shores of the Churchill River. So if you see a big rover buggy type looking thing on land, that is what it is. It's Frontiers North tundra buggy with what looks like Dan's dining car. So maybe they're planning to have some meals there over the next month or so. And again, just whales on either side of us, traveling with us or running with the boat, but I think they might be just out of range of what our moderators are able to capture on that on-deck camera. So looks like I've got about 7 off to my starboard side in between me and the shoreline. Nice healthy pod of adults and adolescents, it looks like. I don't want to spook the whales, so I'm just going to stay beside them and keep going the same speed. But just in case our cam moderators aren't able to turn the camera that far, we'll just stick with them for a while, and hopefully if they're chasing some fish, they will be successful and then come over and join the boat. So we seem to have found multiple pods here, just getting close to the fort and the edge of the river going into the mouth of the bay. We've seen a few different pods now, you know, from 5 to 7 to 12 whales kind of surrounding us for a little hot minute there. But it seems like this is kind of like a really good zone for us to be in right now. So I'm going to just try to make sure we're in a safe place away from shore, and we've got some other boats in the area now. But it seems like this is the place to be, and the whales are definitely exhibiting some feeding behavior. I wouldn't quite describe it as a frenzy as of yet, but definitely look like they're chasing some fish. So hopefully we'll catch them on that camera, and maybe a little bit of action under the water as well. Okay, beluga buddies, I'm not seeing a ton of action on our underwater camera, but we are seeing the whales around us. And in other exciting news, the clouds are breaking and the sun is coming out on the west side of the river. So things are getting really bright here, starting to warm up. And we are approximately halfway into our tour. So, fingers and toes crossed that this tour is just like many of the other tours we had this week, where things really picked up for us in the second half when most of the other boats in the area head back in. We've still got a couple hours on the water. So, fingers crossed that things will pick up for us in the second half with the sun coming out. Being still, I just caught your comment. You're right, Beluga Palooza, and I have already told Gentry about the Beluga Bonanza. So I am extra hopeful because there's just nothing like it. Obviously, I've shared all the photos with Mr. Gentry Bruce as often as I can for a couple years now, but there really is nothing like seeing it happen before your eyes, whether that's in person or even live on the cams. So fingers crossed for him, and if not, we're optimistic about some morning tide times next week. But I'm really hoping we end up with a full-on fry yay today as things wind down in the last half of our tour. But thanks for the comments. Alrighty, so I've just turned the boat again to point us north, going towards the bay, and it seems that the group of whales we've come across here, definitely a large group with some feeding behavior, but in really exciting news, it seems to be mostly females and adolescents, and some, I think, moms with babies. So I think I've seen about 3 whales with um, babies that were probably born this year, and maybe about 4 females with their sort of year-old calves still swimming with them, and then within that mix, just some kind of random gray adolescent whales. So, kind of taking a guess here that we've stumbled upon the female gang or the female pod, because as we know from one of our scientist guests this year, Jackie, they really do have that family dynamic where they are known to babysit one another's young or hang out in social groups, separating off into sort of male and female bunches at times. So we're just in the midst of that. Hopefully you guys have seen that beautiful sun as I've turned the boat around. Things are warming up and there's blue skies, so we're super excited. And I'm just heading north to try to get the whales behind us in that on deck cam. So stay tuned just a few more minutes and you should see what we're seeing with all these mamas and babies. Oh, good day, Beluga buddies. I hope you're enjoying the view today. As suspected, the second half of our tour is just going smashingly. A lot of action on that on-deck cam. I know the underwater cam, the whales are being a bit elusive, it seems as though. But I was just explaining to Gentry, when the whales are feeding, as you can see they are, we know that they don't much engage with us or our camera. They're very focused on cashing in on the fish in the area, and the best that we hope for is they're just near the boat, or some of the capeland try to hide under the boat. And then we get those close encounters with the whales. But as you can see from that behavior, they're definitely in a feeding group, and there is a ton of them out here, and as mentioned, a ton of babies. So do keep your eyes peeled for the little ones out there. Some of them are with their siblings, it seems like. Some of them are with mom. And I've seen a couple maybe branching out on their own for a little breath of air. And sometimes I even caught one that seemed to be rolling over the back of his mom. So in 1 minute he was on the right side, and then the next time they came up I saw a little fin and he was rolling over her back to be on the left side. So that was a pretty magical thing to catch. But yeah, I'm just gonna try to keep repositioning so that we make sure you guys can catch all this footage on the on-deck camera. Lucky for me, it is quite a big pod, so I don't have to do too many maneuvers. But hopefully we are enjoying the show. Hello, beluga buddies. Hopefully you're enjoying that sunshine. It's certainly warmed us up here on the boat. And just a shout out to all my picture takers and moderators. Gentry's having a look here at some of the photos that you guys have been capturing, and he's very impressed by what we're able to capture with those below deck and on deck cameras. So I was explaining the process to him with how we can send our photos to the Beluga Bits gallery or post them to the message board or save them to your computer, but also explaining that you guys are doing that manually with your fingers and that little camera clicker, and you know, our moderators are moving the cameras to follow what we're seeing and zooming in and out. So really a team effort, and lots of compliments from Gentry. As always, no surprise here. I've known that for a couple of years now. You guys are amazing. So just wanted to give a little heads up. We are in the last hour of the tour here. Seems like this is a pretty good place to be. Like I said, lots of feeding behavior all around us. I'm not seeing any other people on the water in other locations really, so I feel like this is going to be a really good spot for us just to be around the whales and watch them, hopefully catching lots of capelins. So one more hour to go on this beautiful Friday night. Thank you for sticking it out with us and joining us. And we're so happy that the weather has turned around and there's finally blue, clear skies in Churchill. It's beautiful. Cloud, you made me laugh out loud with that picture I showed Gentry. He's also getting a giggle out of it too. I was trying to just explain to him because today the feeding behavior of the whales, as we're noticing, is quite calming and very go with the flowy. And I was trying to explain that sometimes it's that many whales plus all the ones that we can't see under the water, and it's like exciting, and there's splashing and there's constant breathing, and it's literally a frenzy. And I said, so I was just explaining the different types of whale behavior we see, and yes, how you guys are taking all kinds of pictures, and it probably does look like that. And Cat Crazy, we were just saying the same thing too about how I was saying how it's lovely when the sun comes out, because then the water goes back to that beautiful blue color instead of that sort of dark gray color that we have when it's gray outside. I was also describing to Gentry when the water's flat calm, how it's possible to see like multiple layers of whales. It's not that the water is no less clear today. I can see that from your guys' photos, but when it's flat calm and there's no ripple on the water, you can really see down much deeper. To like I said, see layers of whales. I think that's also a little bit easier when the sun's overhead instead of sort of the setting sun that we have this evening, but I digress either way. So, as mentioned, we're on the last, I don't know, 40 minutes or so of the tour. And I am just moving now kind of adjacent from the port. So the whales are a little bit more spread out. It seems the numbers have dwindled slightly from, the last hour or so, but definitely still in the area. And with the sun shining on those ships in the port, I know that's just going to be a beautiful scene for you guys as well. So just hanging out in front here, and hopefully their bellies are full and they will come say goodbye to us before we head out for the weekend. But just a reminder for next week's tide times, they're in the morning, all in the morning here in Central Time in Manitoba. So like I said, Monday through Wednesday we'll be starting at 8 a.m. Central Time. So for anybody on the West Coast, that is getting pretty early, but if you wake up around 6 and figure you can't sleep, if anything, or soothing water sounds can help you out, or just some calming beluga whales while you're laying in bed waiting for the day to start. So keep that in mind for next week. Like I said, Monday's a short tour, 8 a.m. to 10:15 based on our tide times, but I will be here with two PBI guests, I believe, are joining us Monday. We're going to have PBI ambassador and scientist Joanna, who's originally from Poland and Svalbard. She's been up here with us a few winters now. And PBI renowned photographer Dan Cox, who we said hi to with Chiron on the Zodiac the other day. So I believe Dan is out doing the Sea North tour, where you can put your snorkel in off the back of a mat, so your camera can actually be in the water. So we'll see what that experience was like for Dan, and if he got any great photos. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to coming back on Monday and joining you all then, I hope. I thought I would share one more fun thing with you guys as we've got a down moment here. As we were talking yesterday in the slightly worse than this conditions, I was kind of making a joke. Everybody wants to be a captain, you know, until the terrible things go astray. And I can attest to that very much. I think that phrase originally came from Gentry. As he is the captain of our boat, our sailing vessel Freya. Gentry is absolutely the captain of that. I'm the best first mate he's ever had. um, but he always jokes that everybody wants to be the captain, you know, until it's time to dock the boat or whatever. And I had found this very cute thing on the internet there. And it was written by an anonymous 10-year-old. Was submitted to the paper. So I'll read it to you guys if we have a moment. Why I want to be a captain. I want to be a captain when I grow up because it's a funny job and easy to do. Captains don't need much school education. They just have to learn numbers so they can read the instruments. I guess they should be able to read maps too so they won't get lost. Captains have to be brave so they won't be scared if it's foggy and they can't see or the propeller falls off. They should stay calm so they will know what to do. Captains have to have eyes to see through the clouds, and they can't be afraid of thunder or lightning because they are closer to them than we are. The salary that captains make is another thing that I like. They make more money than they can spend. This is because most people think that captaining a ship is dangerous, except captains, because they know how easy it is. There isn't much I don't like. There isn't much I don't like, except girls like captains, and all the girls want to marry the captains, so they always have to chase them away so they won't bother them. I hope that I don't get seasick because I get car sick, and if I get seasick, I could not be a captain, and then I would have to go out and work. So I had sent that to Gentry, and I said, where them girls at? But yeah, so it's a cute little thing we shared to our internet, and I love reading those like submissions from children about why they want to do certain jobs. But I especially like the part about being brave and not being scared of thunder and lightning, because we have experienced that in the last couple weeks. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's just a cute little internet share. Cloud, thank you for sharing that photo. I actually did not know that they were called aqua mats. Basically, we've just been making up words. I think Kai and I were calling it snorlugling or something along those lines. But yeah, that's a great photo. So it's an aqua mat, and yes, you can stick your face in, and if you have a camera, you can also stick your camera in and hope for some engagement with the whales like that. So I'm curious to see if Dan got out tonight and was able to capture anything. As you know, my experience with the whales today, our experience, if you will, was that they were kind of here and then gone and eating. So I wonder if his experience was similar, and we'll certainly report back and maybe talk about that on Monday. So thanks for sharing a photo of that, Cloud. That's awesome. Oh, oh my gosh. I'm just looking at Sugar G Mom, and those pictures. Jeez Louise. Those are beautiful. Do you paint that? Like, how does one even do that? Oh my gosh, the detail. Holy smokes. Um, Oh dear. Um, Afternoon there, so that must just be East Coast, I guess. Oh yeah, yeah, you're right, Gentry. It is Europe. Well, here's hoping. We will just get a little bit later, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like I said, short tour Monday. I think we're at 2.5 hours. 3 hour tour Tuesday, and I believe we'll have Gentry back on the boat Wednesday for our first 4 hour tour of next week. And just in case anybody's curious, um, I have received some good and exciting information. So I've got good news and bad news. I will start with the bad news. Let's start with the bad news. The bad news is on Tuesday, the 27th, which is scheduled to be our last day, we're not going to be able to be on the water that day. We have a scheduling conflict with the Marine Observatory here in Churchill. So that's a bit of a downer. I won't be able to join you guys on that Tuesday. But I have some good news that will hopefully make up for this. Um, the good news is that, yay, weather permitting, our final day will be the Friday, Friday, August 30th, not the Tuesday. So weather permitting, we will be able to continue to be on the water and broadcast till the end of the month and close out that week. So that was my big hope for the season, and it looks like things have come to fruition, at least on an administrative end. And now we just need some support from Mother Nature. So if anybody's got some connections with the weather gods, keep that in mind for that final week of August, as we'll hope to get out on the water 4 out of the 5 days that week. So really exciting that we can officially say our last day is Friday, August 30th. So that's going to give us a few extra days than we already had scheduled. So hooray! But yeah, I just want to say again, Sugar G Mom, your frogs are amazing. And that's really cool that you're doing it for a charitable organization. When I saw the 27th, it had reminded me of our date change. So I'm really happy to bring that information for you guys. Thanks so much for sharing that link to the Marine Observatory cloud. I was actually discussing it with Kyra, I said, oh, it's a bit of a downer. I don't think I'll be able to attend. And just because of the timing, I thought maybe I could get there for a little bit in the morning. But then Kyron said he had been to, they had something similar a couple years ago, and I thought it was maybe just a building tour or something along those lines. But he said between this sort of grand opening afternoon and then they do something sort of the next day where they talk to everybody about all the stuff and ideas that were arose during their discussions with scientists and special guests that they have there. And it's also, there's a ton of information being given out, sort of like little seminary type things, small scale, of course, but about sea ice and sea algae. And Captain Kyron just thought it would be really, really beneficial for me to go to that. So that is the event that we're going to be attending with the Marine Observatory. And I think it's it really facilitates and supports what we're doing, especially out here on the water. So I'm really happy to be a part of that as a representative. So yeah, you'll have to thank you for your graciousness and understanding why we won't be out that day. But I hope to come back that week with like a ton of new information, not only for this season and the bear season coming up, but hopefully next year on the water as well. So we have found a really just active pod here currently right in front of us. Looks like you guys got some pictures on the underwater cam. So I did not notice them creeping up from behind, but I definitely see them in front of us. So hopefully we'll meet up with these guys and I will turn around and begin our little journey back into launch, and maybe they'll follow along with us as well. Well, hello, friend. On that note, friends, as it goes with the belugas, the second we start doing things is when they always come up and engage. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll start to get my things together here for the last little bit of the tour and let you guys enjoy the sights and the sounds that we may have here in the next few minutes. So again, I just want to say thank you to all my moderators, my camera operators, my audio technicians, all the people behind the scenes, letting us know that things are working well and or not. And today everything went perfectly. So a very nice contrast to yesterday. But thank you so much for your guys' help behind the scenes. I do so appreciate it. And all that stuff that's shared on the board, we talk about, and our moderators are able to send links and find information and share that with everybody. So thank you so much for that. Of course, our viewers, we wouldn't be here without you guys. We'd like to think that our beluga whale channel is one of the most popular channels on explore.org. So I thank you for joining me and tuning in every day that we're out and every day that you can be there to make it. Of course, I thank my very special guest today, Gentry. I'm so happy to finally get him on the boat and share this experience together. Like I said, it doesn't matter. There's really no bad days on the water, and there's definitely no bad days with the belugas. And obviously, and of course, Polar Bears International and Explore.org for this amazing partnership. We're just so grateful to be out here. So bless those two organizations, and we'll keep working together for as long as they'll have us. So that is all for Captain Tara on this Friday. Hopefully we have a great last couple 10 minutes here or so before I head in, and I wish all of you a wonderful weekend and good weather as our summer starts winding down. So stick with us till the end, and I will see you on Monday, first thing in the morning, nice and early at 8 a.m. Central Time. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye.